When Sportacus lifted the Great Pyramid of Giza, he proved that sports candy is more energy dense than enriched uranium, okay? The numbers back me up here. In the now very iconic episode of Lazytown, The Mystery of the Pyramid, which you can watch entirely on YouTube, by the way, so check that out if you want. Our dashing hero literally uses a rope and a grappling hook to hoist and lift and tilt the Great Pyramid of Giza. Now, this is an artist rendition of these historic events. I'm going to use actual numbers for the Great Pyramid, like its dimensions and stuff. There is a good breakdown on the Versus Battle wiki, where someone went through and actually measured out by pixel to get measurements of the pyramid, but I think using just the actual numbers of the real-world pyramid itself is a little more realistic and grounded, and you don't have to worry about like weird perspective stuff that I think throws this one off a little bit. Basically, the important thing is that the pyramid is about 146 meters high and weighs 5.75 billion kilograms, billion with a B. That's very, very heavy. And he lifts it just under 10% of its height. It's like 2 divided by 21. So about 14 meters, I would estimate. Now, if you watch the full clip, you'll see that right before he does this massive feat of strength, he takes a singular bite out of a piece of sports candy apple, which you'll see how much that turbocharges him, because good lord. Anyway, to actually figure out the force involved in lifting this upward, all we have to do is look at the point that he's lifting from, which is perfectly in the center of one of the sides of the pyramid, and it's causing it to tilt, much like a lever, actually, on the opposite side. So he's lifting up the one side, and it's staying in place on the other one. So we can basically treat this like a lever, which means he's getting mechanical advantage via the lever arm of the base of this pyramid. So because he's lifting from one exact opposite side from the other, and the center of mass of the pyramid is directly in the center, it's pretty simple that it takes half as much force to lift the pyramid from this end as it would to from the center of mass, which means we can say mass of the pyramid being 5.75 billion kilograms times the acceleration due to gravity, which is 9.81 meters per second squared, tells us the force required to lift the pyramid. So half of that is the force to tilt it with this lever arm. Pretty neat. And yeah, that works out to 28.2 billion newtons of force, which is equivalent to like 3 billion kilograms roughly, just straight up hulked with his arms. Now, yeah, this ruler is still here for a reason. So he lifted this entire pyramid. He lifted that side by about 14 meters. So we can take the force that he applied times the distance that he applied it over to figure out the amount of energy that he put into this to do this feat. And if we do that, just multiplying them together, we get 393 gigajoules, which is a lot. That is equivalent to 94 tons of TNT. He just, with his arm. Now, things are about to go off the rails even further, so if you stuck around this long, thank you, because he took one single bite of that apple and got almost 400 gigajoules of energy that he was able to expend. Now, the average apple takes about 8 bites to eat entirely, which means there is at least 8 times 400 gigajoules of energy in a single apple, which means 3,200 gigajoules in an apple. Assuming an apple is about a fifth of a kilogram, that is 16,000 gigajoules of energy per kilogram of apple. That's roughly 4 times the energy density of enriched uranium in sports candy apples. Speaking of enriched uranium, why don't we compare Sportacus's body to a nuclear reactor? Because that's the kind of scale of power production we're talking about. That one bite of sports candy gave him 93 million calories of energy. Kilocalories, whatever. Now, not only did he take in that much energy, he also used it to lift the pyramid, as we saw, over about 30 seconds of time. If we treat that as like his peak metabolic rate, and then turn that into how much energy he could produce over an entire day if he were to run that hard, we're talking 270 billion calories in a day is what he could output, roughly equivalent to 311 gigawatt hours of power. That's a single gigawatt hour is what a nuclear reactor produces. One of them. This is 311, is him. He's 300 nuclear reactors in one by eating apples, eating sports candy. If I find out that no world government has attempted to capture him for research by sundown, I have lost faith in all of you. Don't forget to follow or subscribe or whatever and like this. Yeah.